If any want to become my followers, let them deny themselves and take up their cross and follow me. If you ask me, I think Jesus would have needed a little PR support. This verse doesn't really sound like a seller, does it? But nonetheless, it was used a lot in the past 2,000 years. So you could say it had kind of a successful history. When I hear, let them deny themselves and take up their cross and follow me, I always have to think of Monty Python's Jesus parody Life of Brian. There's this scene when all the prisoners are lined up to go out for crucifixion. And then there is this immensely friendly Roman soldier, and with a voice that you would use to inquire after the health of your neighbor's sick relative, he asks, "Crucifixion? Yes? Good. Out of the door, line on the left, 1 cross each. Next, please. Crucifixion? Yes? Good. Out of the door, line on the left, 1 cross each. 1 cross each." This scene stands in stark contrast to what we usually connect with crosses and bearing a cross. We sometimes refer to the burdens and difficulties in our lives as bearing or carrying our cross. But this usually means our personal, general problems and doesn't necessarily have to do anything with Jesus, right? Health struggles, difficulties at work with friends and family. But I think for our case here, that's too general. That's not what Jesus means when he says, take up their cross. But then what does he mean? Firstly, I do think there is an individual component. We are not asked to carry 1 cross altogether. It is 1 cross each. So instead of take up their cross, like it says in the reading, let's say, take up your cross. Take up your cross. You could understand that literally as a call for martyrdom, and it has been used as such throughout the history. When Matthew wrote the Gospel, roughly 50 years after Jesus' death, it was well known that Jesus had died on the cross. And in the time after the destruction of the temple in Jerusalem, the first persecutions of Christians throughout the Roman Empire happened. And voluntary self-sacrifice modeled on Jesus became a way of take up your cross. And though there are impressive examples throughout the centuries, Jesus does not request it explicitly that we have to die for our faith. And to be honest, that's not the actuality of life in our zip code today, right? Take up your cross. What if we read it figuratively, as a willingness to deal with the struggles that we go through as we try to live a Christian life? And Paul lists what this Christian life contains in today's reading from Romans. Let love be genuine, hate what is evil, hold fast to what is good, love one another with mutual affection, outdo one another in showing honor, do not lack in zeal, be ardent in spirit, serve the Lord, and so on and so on. Sounds like a bullet point from a PowerPoint presentation about how to be a Christian. And honestly, to try to live up to all of this sounds like quite a cross to carry. To be able to do all this, even one tiny piece of it, you need to know about yourself. Or at least you need to be willing to get to know yourself and be willing to undergo critical self-reflection. You need to try to understand the world we live in, be willing to view your life and the system you live in from different angles. Change your perspective if necessary. Work actively against systems that suppress and are unjust. And show love, or at least respect, to those that don't share your view. Take up your cross. Are you willing to take up your cross to do that? Because it truly is a cross to follow God's path, to build God's kingdom, the world of justice, joy, and peace. It's neither clear, nor the easiest, nor the most comfortable way of living. It could go against what we would benefit of against personal plans, wishes, or needs. It could mean saying unpopular things or being ridiculed. Sometimes it could even be dangerous. And that will take its toll on us. Within ourselves, there will be struggle, fighting, frustration, doubt, lament, grief, failure. Even Jesus struggles at the evening of his crucifixion when he prays on the Mount of Olives and asks God to let this cup pass from him. And Peter, who vows to stick with Jesus no matter what happens, boasts that even the threat of death could never cause him to deny his Lord. But he fails miserably in fulfilling his promises. He stays far away when Jesus is arrested and denies him repeatedly while Jesus faces trial and torture. Peter fails again and again and again and again and takes up the cross again and again and again and again. He tries. So taking up your cross is a process. It's something you'll have to go through over and over again. And right now, today, on this Sunday morning, we are all at different points in our lives in general, in our emotional struggles, regarding our self-reflection, and regarding things we do actively on Paul's list. It's a process that is necessary because you have to dive deep into yourself and your faith, into what you long for, and into what God might want for you. There are unfulfilled wishes that want and have to be lamented. There might be anger towards others or God. There might be frustration or resignation because all your efforts till now have been fruitless. But you might also feel thankfulness, a peace of mind, being blessed or needed in your community. Taking up your cross is a process, and it is good to recognize it as such and to be gracious with yourself. And then, like Peter, take it up again and again. Because when we do that, it means we are not letting go of God. It means we know about our call and our responsibility, and we recognize that struggle is a natural part of Christian life. So maybe during this week and the challenging year of 2020, with fires and hurricanes around us, with a pandemic, with racism and murder of people of color, with being in lockdown, with working from home and homeschooling, with a presidential election coming up, take a look at the Romans text without pressure. Think about what are the things that you do and what are the things you struggle with. And then try to get a hold of the emotions connected with these things, no matter what they are, thankfulness or anger, and bring them before God. And then, like Peter, take up your cross again and again and again. Amen.